All right, I've been telling Pharaoh, Mr. Telepharaoh TV. All right, we're going to get right into it. Fat Joe did an interview with Funk Flex. And I think, look, man, I think Funk Flex has been doing some very important New York driven interviews as of late. Let me big up him because he's the OG. So let me big up Funk Flex because I think he's been doing some very important interviews. It's been gossipy at best. But I'm not going to sit there and say he's facilitating just the biggest gossip. He's getting some very exclusive interviews as of late. So big up the Funk Flex. Now I think what he's doing with the record and with Remy Ma's record and still saying music still matters. I think all that's corny, but I like what Funk Flex has been doing with these New York based heavy hitter interviews. And he got Fat Joe in the studio for an interview last night. It dropped. I think it was actually shot earlier yesterday or maybe even the day before that, which would have coincided with Wednesday. All right. Because the interview it's before another one dropped, Remy Ma's latest diss record. But nevertheless, this was Fat Joe opening up. Like I just posted footage about the Wendy Williams interview, but Fat Joe opened up the most in this interview with Funk Flex, and he talked about the beef, Remy Ma, Nicki Minaj, extensively. Y'all know we're gonna have a lot of coverage on this. It's the biggest story in hip hop since Drake Meek Mill. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Fat Joe said, look, first and foremost, Fat Joe didn't want to talk about it. He was like, look, I don't even want to talk about it. Because Fat Joe understands that this can really mess things up for them. It can help, but it can harm at the same time. You can't have Nicki Minaj and Remy Ma on the same radio show build, on the same show. And if you had to pick, I'm pretty sure you're gonna still pick Nicki Minaj. But Fat Joe understands that this is Remy Ma promoting the album, Plato Plomos, go get it, and becoming the clear cut number one. Do I believe Remy Ma is the number one rapper? I'm gonna give Nicki a couple more weeks, but the time is ticking. All right, I'm not the corny dude to just jump and say that Nicki Minaj is number one. But if Remy puts out another album on top of Plato's Plomos before Nicki drops something, we definitely need to start looking into Remy being number one. And on top of that, Remy Ma, if she can capitalize, it looks like Money Showers is gonna chart. I'm gonna give Nicki Minaj the benefit of the doubt. She needs to respond to this record and put out music. She needs to respond to Nicki Minaj and to Remy Ma and put out music. That's what needs to happen. But we're gonna take it a step further. Fat Joe said a couple things that really stuck out to me in this interview with Funk Flex. He said there's a general understanding that Nicki Minaj bullied people, including Lil Kim, while she was the clear-cut number one and coincidentally while Remy Ma was in prison. I'm going to go ahead and give my 2 cents on that. Yes, there was this notion that Nicki was number one. She'd hop on records. She'd say she's the queen, and if any bitch want to try her, I don't call women bitches. These are words out of Nicki Minaj's mouth. She was saying if any chick wanted to try her, you know what I'm saying, you don't want war, this and that. All for pretty much the last decade. And this is her first challenge. And I believe Nicki Minaj does owe the culture one rap battle with Remy. Do I believe she's going to do it? No, I've been consistent with my approach. I don't believe Nicki Minaj is going to respond to Remy Ma. And I think that's a mistake. With that being said, Fat Joe was like, there's a general consensus among people around the situation that Nicki Minaj has been bullying rap and she ain't had a viable number two. A lot of people in the NBA world, I'll talk sports for a second. A lot of people believe LeBron James has gotten out of the Eastern Conference with ease over the last decade because he's never had a consistent superstar on his level in their prime and healthy to compete with him in the Eastern Conference. There have been teams like Boston Celtics who've gotten together for a year or two. There have been teams like the Chicago Bulls with Derrick Rose who've gotten together for a year or two to compete. But nobody has consistently stood the test of time, and it looked like Remy Ma's in a position to stand the test of time and be a competitor, a viable number two, that rival that LeBron James never had to Nicki Minaj. And it looks like Nicki Minaj doesn't want smoke. And that, to me, It contradicts everything Nicki Minaj has been rapping about. So Fat Joe was like, she's been bullying her way to the top. She bullied her way to the top. She talked about wanting smoke, but when it happened, she don't want smoke. All right? Fat Joe also said something I think that stands out and it needs to be spoken on. The BET Awards. If Nicki Minaj gets the BET Award for Best Female MC, there is a problem, and I agree with Fat Joe 100%. This last calendar year has been arguably Nicki Minaj's most quiet calendar year she's had of her career. I know she's been in and out of relationships, this and that, but this has been her most quiet year of her career. And Remy has been working. I think Young and May has been working. Ooh was a bigger record than anything Nicki Minaj put out in the last calendar year as her song. And all the way up, though it's Fat Joe and Remy Ma, it was bigger than anything Nicki Minaj put out herself. A lot of people make a case that Remy Ma has had a lot of great feature verses with it. Wait a minute. I won't even get that far into it. I just think Remy Ma has been more around than Nicki Minaj the last calendar year. And I believe her or Young and May are both deserving of the Best Female MC of 2016. I agree with Fat Joe there. Now, the bullying, I don't know. But it does look kind of crazy that Nicki Minaj no longer... You would think she won one battle. Like Drake gave us one battle for the culture. He put himself in a position to not have to respond to a Joe Budden, a Pusha T, even though he did give Pusha bars. He didn't have to respond to Kid Cudi, even though he gave him a couple bars. Because Drake did his thing against Meek Mill. Nicki, you owe us one battle. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I do not. But Fat Joe coming, and you can tell this is not what he wanted to do, but this is where we're at. He's like, look, there's a notion that she's been bullying. Fat Joe had every reason to really go at Nicki Minaj because Nicki Minaj posting on her IG about album sales. Fat Joe is half of Remy Ma's album. That Plot Those Promos album is half Fat Joe, half Remy. And Nicki posting the album sales, disrespecting them, saying the numbers don't even compare. Well, Fat Joe didn't even do that. He didn't even go at her in a disrespectful way. He was like, I don't have a relationship with her. And I'm going to take it a step further than that. Nicki, numbers don't matter in this. Numbers don't matter. You can keep bringing up numbers, but when you in the records, not only are you talking about numbers, you're talking about how none of these females won't smoke with you, and you didn't bring a record. So that's where we're at with it. Do I believe Nicki Minaj is going to respond? No, and I believe another one killed any notion of her responding. I don't think Remy might have to do that, but that's where we're at, all right? Fat Joe comments on the beef. He says, look, Nicki Minaj has been bullying her way to the top. Women don't get along. It was bound to happen because women don't get along. And there's no way Nicki Minaj should win BET Female Artist of the Year at the BET Awards. And if she does, we have a problem. After Teleferro, Miss Teleferro TV. Thank y'all for the time, love, and support. Salute. I'm out.
If you're looking to book me for an interview video or by phone, if you're looking to have your music or your skill featured on my daily podcast, if you're looking to book me for a speaking engagement to help motivate some kids, if you're looking to have me rock some of your clothing to help promote your brand, make sure you hit me up at booking@ismrteleferro.com. Again, that's booking@ismrteleferro.com.